Hey guys, so today we are going to be going over the Zenitco B-18 mount for the AKS74u. So here's how you're going to get the mount. A small little bag. Inside you will have the mount itself, a hex key, as well as the instruction manual. Let's take a look at that first. As you can see, it's all in Russian, but it does have some useful information. It tells you the dimension, which is 80 by 30 by 27 millimeters. It tells you the mass, which is 53 grams, and it has some instructions on how to actually mount this thing. One thing to note, however, is that the way they have it in the picture here is not how I will be mounting it, and I'll explain why later. What you also have here is the official stamp of Zenit, as well as the manufacturing date. For this one, it was the 14th of September 2017. So here we have the mount itself. As you can see here, it's called the B-18 Classica, or Classic. I believe this is from their AKS74u set that they have. So this is just one of many pieces to fully kit out your 74 with. As you can see here, it's a three-piece construction that is held together by two screws. Let's actually take this apart and see exactly how it mounts. Alright. So now that we've got our rifle and we've got our disassembled mount, let's actually talk about how this attaches to this. As you can see here, there's these two rails running alongside the dust cover, and this is what the mount sits on. This is how the instructions show you to do it. However, because of this, you cannot adjust your rear sight. With this way that I'm going to adjust it, as you can see, I can still adjust the rear sight just fine. Not only that, but I feel it sits a lot more stable here than here. Because as you can see, this is like a roller coaster. Whereas this way, there's a lot less play. So now that we've got this on, let's talk about how to actually level it. And there's a couple of ways you can do this. If you're unlucky and like me, one of these rails is going to be higher than the other. Simply the nature of the beast. It's how it goes. What I did is, instead of modifying this, bending this, or filing this, I took my mount, and this is the one I actually use on the rifle, the other one I will be selling, and I filed down one of those ridges. Now there isn't actually any modification to the outside of the mount. So as you can see here, it looks exactly the same like the other one. However, now it sits perfectly level with the receiver. Quick way you can do that is you put a level right here, pop off the dust cover, take out the recoil spring, and measure the rear of the receiver. Just put a bubble level there and compare those two measurements. So now that we've talked about that, let's actually get this thing on. One thing you want to make sure to do is you want to make sure to put the screws on the left side. You want to put them through so they protrude from the left and they don't interfere with anything. They are a little bit long, and what you can actually do is cut them off. But we'll talk about that once I've actually put this on. So you start the threads just a bit, spread these two plates, and then simply set the mount down. You want to hold these two plates firmly and press forward. The reason you want to do this is because if you ever have to re-zero your optic, or you have to take your mount off, the process will be far, far simpler, as it will slightly return to zero. So we're going to press forward, and we are going to tighten this. Now you don't want to get it too tight, or what will happen is you'll actually bend the rails. And obviously the whole selling point of this mount is that it doesn't modify your rifle in any way. And bending the rails is modifying your rifle, so we don't want to do that. So now that we've got this nice and tight, so that's good right there. We can go ahead and put our optic on. I'll be putting on a Vortex Venom 1x optic. We'll just throw that right on the middle there. Sorry if that's out of frame. Tighten down the screw. And there we go. Now let's actually take a look at what kind of sight picture you could get and how you can actually see the iron sights. So we're out here outside, and we'll just quickly take a look how clear the sight picture is, even with the P setting. If you take a look at that, that is absolutely perfect. You can see the front sight clearly, and you can see your target. Unlike a lot of the dovetail mounts, which have a slot cut in them, all you can see there is the front post. That's it. You're not going to be able to see the target. With this, the front sight is absolutely visible, and the sights are absolutely functional. So all it takes is that, right there, that downward movement, and you got the red dot. That's all it is. There's the front sight. There's the red dot. And because this mount sits so low, you can still maintain a very good cheek weld. So you can still find that dot very, very quickly. So that was the sights. Now let's go to the conclusion. Alright guys, so all in all, I think this is a great mount. It lets you use the irons, it lets you fold the stock, and it's only 80 bucks. I mean, there's not much more to say, guys. It's a really basic piece of kit, but it does what it sets out to do. So, if you want to bring your rifle into the 21st century, guys, I really strongly recommend you get this. Thanks for watching, and I hope you stuck around.